Giddings and Opposition Leader Will Hodgman with us this morning, debating, Dave.
Is Tasmania's economy in crisis? We've heard from Will Hodgman and then a little bit of toing and froing. Now it is 90 seconds for the Premier, Lara Giddings, to tell us that Tasmania's economy isn't in crisis, and then it's back to Parliament House rules.
Yeah, after that, Will, you'll be encouraged to interject. So, Lara.
Cyprus is an economy in crisis. Tasmania is not. That doesn't mean that we don't have businesses who aren't doing it tough, and we recognise that. And as I said before, unemployment is too high, which is why we made our first priority jobs, particularly under the Tasmanian jobs package. But we believe that we will see further jobs growth because we're seeing evidence of that already. Last year we secured, as our first step, around 2,000 direct and indirect jobs through the heavy industrials who are in Tasmania already, and we're looking a little bit shaky there for a while. We've secured those jobs. We've got the 3,000 jobs we expect out of the Tasmanian jobs package, 750 already through Vodafone and our payroll tax initiative. We've got jobs growing in the mining industry. We've got jobs through the NBN, which I say is under threat, the National Broadband Network by Tony Abbott. In fact, the biggest threat to this state right now is the possibility of a Tony Abbott government because of the loss of GST. Now, GST right now, if we go to a per capita system, which is what West Australia wants and Tony Abbott is encouraging, we could lose up to $700 million of GST. Now, Will say to you, but Lara, you can stop that. I can't. And if Will understood the Grants Commission process and the financial relationships we have between the state and the Commonwealth, he would know that ultimately the Commonwealth Treasurer has the final say. We can't stop that reform. We can't stop losing up to $700 million. Now, that's the equivalent of 3,000 nurses, 800 doctors, 500 allied health professionals and 100 child protection officers in one go. That's what that is. 3,000 nurses gone, 800 doctors gone, and more. The pie is only so big. Give something, another bit to another state, a bigger slice to another state, and we lose out.
We're now at Parliament House rules, so...
Yeah. Look, the biggest threat to Tasmania's economic future is that of another minority government. That's what Lara is promising.
We have provided
it is
stable
certainly not
government.
A Premier who's more worried about scaremongering and dishonest claims.
Lost another minister
it's
yesterday.
Certainly not about a Premier
How
that's more worried about
that?
keeping the Greens happy than about governing Tasmania. And look, Tasmanians don't want this scaremongering. They want to see a Premier that's focused on the job of actually creating real jobs, not losing 20% over the last 12 months.
Not
seeing
Will,
8,300 go from this state
showed some
since
strong
you became
leadership
Premier.
and stood up to Tony Abbott in the same way.
You can't even stand up to the Greens, Lara.
I am saying to the Commonwealth that I think their cuts to the University of Tasmania is wrong. I'm prepared to say that to the Commonwealth, the Labor government. You can't even say it to a Liberal opposition leader.
Larry,
hands off the GST,
Larry,
hands off
you
our
can't stand
NBN
up to
project.
the Greens, and they are running your
How
government.
good will you
Don't
be as a
talk to
Premier
me.
if you're that weak in opposition?
Well, Lara, you can't even stand up to the Greens when they're trashing our economy, when they're talking our state down, when they are dictating forest policy. You should have stood up to them a long time ago and said, no, you're in my government now. You've got to abide by the rules.
This
you
is from
cannot
the man
continue to be
who
wreckers.
squibbed the
You
opportunity to be the Premier of this state. You could have been Premier right now and you squibbed that opportunity.
Because I said I'd never do a deal with the Greens, and I've said I won't do it next time. You've said you will. You've said you might even have more ministers from the Greens in your cabinet.
That's more of your
Nick McKim
trickiness.
could be Tasmania's next deputy Premier.
I've never said that either,
Well,
and that is further example of your trickiness.
You've never ruled that out.
Example of your trickiness. I said to you when you asked me that, I'm very happy with my deputy Premier. I have a Labor man, Brian Green, and you are being tricky saying that today yet again.
In your cabinet. Well, that won't happen under a government I lead because
I've not said that either.
Tasmania needs a strong, stable government that's got a clear agenda, doesn't speak with two voices, and certainly doesn't allow two cabinet ministers to walk out of the responsibility of governing and to talk the state down, to attack forestry, to attack mining, to attack the aquaculture industry. They are well-known economic wreckers, and you sit
under
by
this
and
government,
let it happen.
It's doubling.
You sit by
Aquaculture
and let
is
it happen.
doubling under this government.
Well,
how
imagine
can you
how
say
good
they're
it would be if you could
attacking
take the handbrake off that your
come
minority
on.
government is
And
actually deliver with more certainty.
was losing jobs under a majority Labor government. Back in 2006, the jobs started to be lost.
So you're blaming Paul Lennon
No,
now,
I'm
are
not.
you, for that?
I'm not, because no one will tell you it's the politicians of the day to blame. They will tell you it's high Australian dollar. They will tell you it's changes in market expectations. They will tell you because we don't have FSC. They will tell you because there are more trees growing in Thailand and South America cheaper than you can grow them in Tasmania.
And how is locking up
it's
another
about time you
500,000
accepted the
hectares?
truth.
How is locking up another 500,000 hectares
Ask
that you
the
and your government
market.
wanted to do
Ask
going to help our
Arctic.
forest industry?
Ask
You're locking up a
Arctic.
resource.
Arctic
We
is a
can't
key
afford
player
to
in the
do
forest
that.
industry. They asked you yesterday to support the
We
legislation.
need to keep our resources
Tayan.
open for all companies. We need to give business the confidence to invest, not the threat of uncertainty and the threat of the goalposts being constantly changed, which happens under a minority government here and in Canberra.
That is part two of Power of the People, the great debate between Lara Giddings, the Premier, and the Leader of the Opposition, Will Hodgman. Tasmania's economy in crisis.
We've heard from both Will and from Lara. After 8, the people of Hobart will be able to decide the winner of that debate. But next, you guys will be able to have 90 seconds uninterrupted to state your case on why Tasmanians should vote for you and what your government can do for this state. It's Heart 107.3, Kim and Dave.